What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the bar. For today's video, we're going to be talking about something that recently on Twitter has been a hot topic. Honest feelings, or opinions rather, about Endeavor. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been kind of vocal about this whole situation regarding Endeavor and whether or not he could be really considered a redeemed character. So before I go off on this tangent, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Remember, there's going to be spoilers for My Hero Academia, manga, and anime. So let's get started. So, Endeavor, the newest #1 hero, now that All Might has retired. He's a man that struggled to obtain the #1 hero spot for the past 20 years, and the only reason why he obtained that position was due to the retirement of All Might. That being said, his character has gone through a wealth of character growth in the manga and in the anime. Now, before I start going off, I want everyone to know that I'm not denying whatsoever that Endeavor is becoming a good person. Between what we saw during the fight versus Hood and the fight versus Ending, his mentality is changing towards the whole hero game slash parenting slash, being a good husband. Though my main gripe is that everybody is kind of claiming that he's a redeemed character. I think that he's only on the path to redemption. I'll start with my main gripe here, Rei, his wife. Rei was forced to marry him after he used his power and influence to assure that he would have an overwhelmingly strong offspring after seeing her quirk. Earlier in the series, when they talk about quirk breeding, they mention that families would do this in the past to actually create super strong quirks, but in modern day it's kind of like a frowned upon practice. But people would sell their family members for power or money. Endeavor took someone's daughter and didn't think twice about doing it. He saw a strong quirk and just took advantage of it. What he did to his wife is criminal. He literally turned her into a breeding factory of babies. And the first child that he had, well, don't even get me started. Actually, do get me started. But for the sake of continuity and hypotheticals, for this video, we're going to talk about the first child being Dabi, aka Toya Todoroki. Dabi has made it abundantly clear that he does not like Endeavor. And through our theorizing and kind of using context clues, and because, Vocal Pineapple did kind of call this situation about 3 or so years ago.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
We have a pretty good inkling that Dabi is Toya Todoroki, but think about this from Endeavor's standpoint. Put yourself in the mind of a twisted 20-year-old guy. The first time Endeavor has a child, it's a kid that produces stronger fire than he could have ever produced. In a way, Endeavor created his golden child on the very first shot. And when Toya died, the already broken Endeavor snapped even further. And imagine when they finally show the moment where Toya holds out his arms and tries to show his dad that his flames are strong as they slowly begin to consume him. That's gonna be a moment to remember. The second child was Fuyumi. Thank God this one was a rock of a person, because she's the one that kind of takes the maternal role later on, but my guess is she might have been deemed a failed experiment as well, as Fuyumi manifested a weaker quirk. Though the thing that kind of turns me away from that theory is the fact that Fuyumi doesn't have a really bad relationship with Endeavor. It's a bad relationship, but it kind of leads me to believe that maybe she was kind of led in the way of being a homemaker and taking care of her mom. At this point in the series, it's just Toya and her, so my guess is he's probably still really pushing Toya at this point. That, and I would kind of put Endeavor in that camp of misogyny. It's not really elaborated upon about who is the oldest Todoroki, but at least we can say that Toya and Fuyumi are the oldest and that Natsuo and Shoto are the youngest. But let's move on to the third Todoroki, Natsuo. Natsuo was around to see what happened to his older brother, but also at the same time, he was immediately segregated from his youngest brother, Shoto. And at this point, I'm really leaning towards Toya being taken by the Hero Association, and once he was old enough to go off on his own, his mother had another child who was Natsuo. But once again, Natsuo reaches the age of 4 years old and is deemed a failure. Now, Natsuo holds a grudge against Endeavor that he still adheres to. Natsuo's psyche generates an irrational hate for his father, which is absolutely believable because some people have this. Even when his father is trying to make amends after saving him, Natsuo is like, dude, you gotta get off of me. I know I don't really like the heat, but also, this is a little too much. Thank you for saving me, but it's still a little too much. When you think about it from Natsuo's standpoint, he was 4 years old, or maybe 6 or 7 years old, when his father told him that he was completely useless, and then later on he finds out that his older brother was used as a tool by the Hero Association and his father, and now he's dead. He has every right to still be angry. Now the fourth and final child, Shoto Todoroki. He was deemed to have the perfect quirk, being half hot and half cold. Using them in unison could honestly provide him with the ultimate amount of sustain that any hero dreams about. One of the main drawbacks of Endeavor's prominence burn is that he will essentially start to burn himself. That won't be the case with his youngest son, because Shoto has the ability to cool himself off as he burns up. With that being said, probably after the death of his son, afterwards, Endeavor goes into overdrive with Shoto to the point where he's wearing down every single person around him emotionally. I'm always reminded of this panel where Rei is pleading with Endeavor to please stop the training. You see little Shoto on the ground here with vomit on the floor. It's absolutely heinous. I mean, at this point, Endeavor's been doing this whole child hero baby making thing for about 10 years, and suddenly, the balloon pops. His wife hurts his youngest son. Then, the cover-ups begin. What's he do? Well, instead of the story coming out that he was emotionally and physically abusing his entire family, he covers it up by probably providing enough information that Rei was just disturbed after the death of her eldest son. In turn, he gets her thrown in a mental institution by saying that she was mentally ill and at her limit and she needed to be away from the family after harming their son. Now, don't get me wrong here. Rei definitely needed help. She was really in a bad place, and being home with her family once again now is really gonna help her. But as for the general populace, they don't know what Endeavor is or who he is as a person. He was the source of so much misery. For the past 10 years or so, the children of Endeavor grew up without their mother or their youngest brother. It was said by Natsuo that he doesn't even know what Shoto's favorite food is. How messed up is that? I know my brother's favorite food is pizza. This is all because Endeavor decided it was okay to rip away his youngest brother. Everything that Endeavor has done, people in our society go to jail for an extended period of time due to physical and emotional abuse of spouses and children. Endeavor saved the people of Japan countless times, but that doesn't mean someone like him can be fully considered redeemed. Like I said in the beginning, he's on the path towards redemption. He is not redeemed. The first part of his redemption was understanding that what he did was wrong. Congratulations, dude, you're a sociopath. You know what you did was wrong, and now you're starting to react to it, so I guess you're not really a sociopath, but you're kind of working out of it. The second part is gonna be paying for his crimes. So from that point of view, we should all be in Dabi's camp. I personally think that the truth about Endeavor coming out would do a lot for actually the destruction of heroic society. If everyone in Japan found out that the #1 hero was guilty of so many misdeeds, amongst them pretty much being third-degree murder? Yeah, I'm throwing around the word murder because third-degree murder can just be classified as just being reckless. He absolutely knew what he was doing when he trained Toya and Shoto, and he still did not care. And for the people who are like, oh, he built a home for them, he's such a good dad. Congratulations, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we like to call codependency. He's throwing money at a problem. It doesn't solve the problem, dude. Yes, he's trying to rebuild his family. It's credible. It's admirable. But what it doesn't make up for is his past. Your past will eventually come back to bite you. And me personally, I won't be satisfied in this story until Endeavor gets what's coming to him. A last little tidbit for this video before we go. People like to put Endeavor in the same camp as Vegeta because they both started out as antagonists. It's hard to draw a comparison between these two characters. Vegeta is a literal world killer, while Endeavor, on the other hand, represents more modern day problems and issues. But from the start, he's always been a general force for good, even though he's had such a dark side. Vegeta's path towards redemption should help us understand what Endeavor probably has to aspire to in order to finally be redeemed, albeit on a smaller scale here. There's no revivals in My Hero Academia yet. It took Vegeta 2 deaths of self-sacrifice before he broke his gruff persona and became the prince that tearfully hugged his kid goodbye before exploding. Additionally, afterwards, he went to hell. Not to mention, Vegeta has 35 years of backstory? So Vegeta's road to redemption has certainly been a lot longer. I mean, look, he's finally training with the Yardrats. That's pretty cool. But to conclude the video, Endeavor can make amends with every single one of his children and his estranged wife. But there is still one person out there that is ready and willing to rip down the #1 hero and ruin him in every possible way. Dabi. Also, as for Toya's death, I think it's more likely that he died at the Hero Academy than at the House of the Todorokis. I feel like there would be a little bit more concrete evidence towards his death if he died at the Todoroki home. With Dabi walking around, we know that the Hero Association has blood on its hands. Them being responsible for Dabi wouldn't surprise me. But will that happen? Will Dabi rip down Endeavor's ivory tower? I don't know. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. But that's really all I gotta say about that. Let me know how you feel about Endeavor and leave it in the comments down below. This is Dan, signing off saying, remember, order a little bit extra the next time you get food from your local joint. Do your part, even if it's a little. Peace.